And welcome back to another episode of Underdog Podcast. Happy Friday. Hope you gonna have a good weekend. And hopefully you're not waiting for Friday or the fucking weekend to live life. So that's always good too, right? My weekend will consist of a UFC fight. Gotta watch Conor McGregor. I think Conor gonna win it, man. I like Conor. I like Dustin too. I think Conor, he got a good skill set. I mean, Dustin is tough, but I think Connor's a better striker. Uh, yeah. I think Connor's gonna win it. And it's gonna be a finish, so I'll be surprised if it goes 4 or 5 rounds. I think it's gonna be a finish at some point. I wouldn't call it early round knockout, but I can see a third round knockout or TKO rather, not necessarily a complete knockout, but a TKO. But it'll be interesting. I can see it going 5 rounds too. Don't really think it will though, but I can see it. Well, I guess we'll see where both fighters mentally are at, right? Because Dustin has done what he's done in his career. Connor's done what he's done in his career. So this is more of a mano y mano type of thing, like trilogy. Like, hey, you got me, I got you. Now we're gonna see who really is the best amongst us. Because sometimes the styles and different things just match up well, and you go back and forth, right? So that was my week would be of, and then kids sports, sporting events, and probably should cut the yard on Sunday or some of that. I mean, I could have cut. Oh no, it's been raining these past few days, so yeah, definitely got to do that this weekend. But that's my life, boring as fuck. Right? It's funny 'cause I can say I have a boring life, and next thing you know, I'll be at Game 7 of Tampa Bay Lightning game in the playoffs. That's just my life. Like I'll be like, oh yeah, I don't do nothing. I'll go nowhere. Next thing you know, I'm like somewhere around the world, and it's like, what? Thought this guy don't leave the house. Next thing you know, I'm in like Louisiana, in New Orleans, like, or I'm in London. Like it's just how I am, man. I won't go nowhere for a while. Then when I do go somewhere, oh, it's gonna be significant, right? I don't just casually leave the house. Just go. I'm not one to go hang out at my friend's house forever. Like, cause for me, I mean, I got my own fucking house. I can hang out and I'll ask people to come over and stuff. Sometimes I go to my friend's house just to like be equal in the friendship. But for the most part, I mean, if I'm going somewhere, it's going to be doing something or go somewhere that I deem of significance. Or unless it's just to go hang out, meet with someone at a restaurant, or go do, go to dinner, go to movies, stuff like that. Random tangent I just went on, right? Whatever, fuck it. So before I go into the today's topic in the headline, this this central bank shit, this central bank digital currencies is like, it's not legit. Legit is an understatement, right? It's completely a conspiracy. It's factual because it's conspiracy rather because they have been sitting around playing this shit for decades, right? And it's completely factual. It's no longer a myth. It's no longer a possibility. It's a flat out guaranteed. And they've been doing this for decades. And then they started how they're gonna implement it. They talked to amongst the G7 nations, and now this weekend the G20 is meeting. Interestingly enough, G20 meets this weekend, right? At the same time, we talked about earlier this week, the World Economic Forum cyber pandemic exercise, whatever happens to today. I mean, coincidences, right? Who could have saw that happening, right? Just another fucking coincidence. Even though IMF, World Bank, UN, G20, World Economic Forum, they're all the same entities, right? But don't worry, it's all a coincidence. And I'm just crazy. So this is from Yahoo Finance. It says IMF, World Bank, advocate for benefits of central bank issued digital currencies at G20. So IMF and World Bank, talked about before, IMF, World Bank, Ripple, XRP. Now you have XDC, Algorand, Solana, XLM, Stellar Lumens. Like they're picking and choosing who they're gonna work with. They let the private sector develop the technology, They come along with these international ruling organizations, these governments, these countries, these nations. And they say, hey, because these people are, think about it, the private sector develop technology for money and stuff. Who the fuck they're not stupid. They know they can't just go off in like Bitcoin and just have their own thing. No, they'll be taken down. So you have the private sector developing thing, and then you have the public sector, the governing bodies making rules, laws, and regulations and policies, right? You have research and winning and development, all types of stuff, and then you can have the government coming in. Hey, we like what you're doing. Come work with us. They do that shit all the time. There's nothing new, right? There's nothing new. There's nothing new. And then even the most top secretive stuff that the government does, they develop behind the scenes. It still seems to be some association with some type of public sector, public corporation, or excuse me, private corporation, private sector. So it says IMF and the World Bank advocated for the cross-border benefits. Cross-border. Pay attention. We talk about in this podcast plenty of times. Keywords. Words mean things, right? Numbers mean things. Like, it means things to these people. We might say it's bullshit, but it means something to them because they're constantly signaling and messaging to each other. So we talk about Ripple, we talk about XRP, and we said their association with IMF. Talk about Trump before mentioning the IMF deal. Talk about before IMF and Ripple executives being at the White House while the Trump administration was in the White House making the deals, being on the meetings, the what is this? The meeting schedule, or whatever. So it's cross border. What? Who else talks about cross border? Ripple. Brad Garlinghouse, CEO, talks about cross border all the time. Cross border. Well, man, if I read this article and I see, and I swear to God, they fucking say level playing field. I'm done. I'm done with this article. I'm done. So it says cross-border benefits. The central bank issue digital currency, suggesting that projects like a digital dollar in the U.S. will support global development. The two global bodies released a report alongside the Bank for International Settlements, arguing that coordination on digital currencies would shake up the status quo of having to rely on expensive and slow transfer services to send money around the world. Ripple specializes that. Faster, cheaper, and more transparent and more exclusive cross-border payment services would deliver benefits for citizens, businesses, and economies worldwide. That you know what? Just for those new listeners, right? I always get new people around the country, around the world listening. Let's see. We're gonna go to Ripple's fucking website. Global payment solutions, instant processing. And let's just see what it says real quick. Move money to all corners of the world. Discover why hundreds of financial institutions choose RippleNet to provide a better payments experience and enable greater economic opportunity for everyone everywhere. You know, let's see. Let's go to their About Us page. Let's see. Universal blockchain initiative. Let's just go to our story. Right, so you have 500 employees, 9 global offices. So does the SEC lawsuit mean anything to Ripple and XRP? Not a goddamn thing. And I think people often confuse that, especially in the United States of America. We have such an egocentric perspective on the world. We think the world revolves around America for whatever fucking reason. You're talking about being stuck up with your head up your ass. So the thing is, if Ripple, you really think the United States is going to sit there and say, oh yeah, this is security? It'll be left behind. The rest of the world is already operating on the fact that XRP is a currency. It's all a show, man. It's all a sham. Let's see. We build centralized. Yeah, damn it. They you know what? They constantly change their page. Now that I think about it, because I've been to this page a few times over the years, and they constantly change it. I mean, hell, look at their partners. Bank of America, Santander, American Express, SBI Remit, which is SBI over in Japan, Saab. Come on, man. Come on, man. Damn, they don't have it on here though. Wait, they would. Seagate is an investor of them. Standard Charter is investor of SBI Group, Digital Ventures, Andreessen Horowitz, Accenture. Look these people up, man. Look these companies up. These venture capital companies. It's this is who has influence around the world. Who does things around the world? As we sit here talk about our Bill Gates and Elon Musk. There's people really doing things around the world that really have a huge influence and big network, and you don't even know who they are. They can walk right past you on the street. Oh man. Okay, here we go. It says Ripple's global payment solutions are helping transform how vulnerable populations, remitters, and small businesses worldwide send and receive money across borders. Across borders. Across borders, bro. You think they're just sitting here saying cross borders? Look, it keeps saying it again. Furthering innovation across global payments and beyond. I like how it used to be cross border. Now it's across. It's almost like people got caught on too much, started paying attention to what their verbiage was being used on their website, and it's like no, Ripple, we're paying attention. We got what y'all we understand what y'all was talking about. Uh, but just to show y'all the quick connection, download the future of CBDC report. CBDCs will play a critical role in the new modern global financial infrastructure. So it's all the time they're building one right in front of your fucking eyes. Here they are listening. It says blockchain technologies will undoubtedly underpin. Ripple's new report provides central banks with the framework for implementing CBDCs and guidance for ensuring global interoperability, the cornerstone of CBDCs. So they did a report providing guidance to central banks. And who's the central bank? Central bank? The central bank, right? Bank for International Settlements, BIS. Huh? They out there working with these people? Oh wow! So they got all these different countries and stuff, whatever, on their little map. We'll go back to the article. So let's see. It says IMF, World Bank, and BIS prepared the report for a G20 meeting. And who they got a report from? Ripple. But you know, so many people don't even know that because these are. So when you're talking about building digital infrastructure and the networks and the system, you don't know what goes into you getting that web page. No, the average person, which I don't know, well, I do know why. IT, it should be basic knowledge. It should be taught in every educational program around the world. Because people don't even understand how you're able to hear my voice being transferred from one end of the world to another part of the world digitally, and all it is just ones and zeros and then computer code. But yet you're able to hear my voice digitally, right? Being sent by digital means and stuff, whatever. And people understand how many networks and stuff like that go behind the scenes that are connecting and stuff, and all in real time. So if that's happening, right? And if I'm able to do a live stream on D Live in real time, and you can hear me in what about 5 second delay, something like that, you telling me I can't fucking send money around the world? What's taking so long? See, the technology is already there. It's just building a whole interoperable, interconnecting uh, infrastructure around the world. We all ain't gotta agree on everything. We all can be at each other's neck. But when it comes to money, everyone agrees on money. You got something I need. I got something you need. Let's make a fucking deal. We might not fuck with each other on any other level. But hey, you got some corn, I got some wheat. Wait, are those two things the same? No, I think they're different. You get what I'm saying though. You got one thing, I got something else. Let's make a trade. Now, how are we gonna go about this trade? When you have that currency, I have this currency. Well, we need to have a minimum exchange currency where it doesn't offset either one of ours, and your currency isn't dominant over everyone else's and can manipulate and control everybody. Oh, how about we get a medium and bridge currency that can settle these transactions within seconds around the world? Oh, that's right, XRP. XRP ledger, the blockchain, the digital distributed ledger technology, and the XRP, the settlement token. So it goes on to say that they're hosting in Italy. So I think it's in Venice, Italy. The report envisions a central bank digital currency ecosystem where currencies could be exchanged with one another instantly and at all times. I just explained to you Ripple, the company. I just explained to you their biggest asset, XRB, the digital asset. You're invested in a software program, computer code, right? This is a new asset class because before we had never really, you can never really invest in some type of software program unless it was a product of a company. But now these open source distributed ledger technologies and these open source Bitcoin, these blockchain technologies, you can get some of the token or whatever that goes on the infrastructure or goes on the ledger or goes on the technology, the blockchain that allows those transactions and stuff like that to happen. You can invest in these things now. Never in the modern world, when I say the modern world, or at least the past 1,000 years that we can know of, has this actually happened? Especially we're talking about in the since what 16th century, something like that, 17th century, 18th century. We never really had a chance to have this stuff. Now's the time to put your money somewhere and make something out of it because we want to know how the people stay rich. They don't own it. They don't own anything. Or excuse me, they own stuff. They have assets. My fault. They don't sit there and collect the annual income. They just have assets. And when it comes time to do certain things, well, they trade out those assets and stuff, whatever. But they got to pay capital gains tax because they have no guaranteed annual income, or their annual income is low. So you collect the $1 salary, all right, Mark Zuckerberg, then you're like, oh, look what he's doing. He's not even getting paid from it. He don't have to get paid from it. And that's how you not pay taxes. It's right there, bro. It's right there. So then it goes on to, yeah, the report envisions, I've read that part already. Did I? So the report envisions central bank ecosystem where currency, yeah, could be exchanged with one instant at all times. Yeah, same thing that's on the Ripple page. I just want to show y'all a connection on what this article is talking about and what it says on Ripple's website and how the two things line up, obviously, right? But if you didn't know about the other one, you wouldn't know what was going on. You wouldn't see the connection. See how things could be connected? Everything's connected. You just don't know the connections, right? Everything's connected. You just can't see it yet, or you don't know it yet. Your awareness. See, we always talk about intellect and intelligence, but we rarely discuss awareness. It's your awareness that really is the significance of intelligence, or what we think intelligence is being aware, right? And a lot of us choose to be fucking ignorant. We don't want to know what's going on in the world. We don't fucking care. And, that's by choice, and there's nothing wrong with that. But when you complain about things, well, guess what? Look in the mirror. You'll find the person that to blame. We all have to do it. We all have to look in the mirror and say, hey, you fucked up. Like, hey, yeah, I need somebody to blame. Hey, let me go to the bathroom real quick. Look in the mirror. Oh, there's that fucking person I need to blame. Right there. That person. They did it all. It's their fault. It goes on the paragraph to say, in the same way that central banks offer swap lines to one another to ensure, for example, the U.S. dollar are readily available for exchanges, Nostro Votro's accounts. Brad Garhouse talks about that. There's tons of money locked up. The biggest thing that happened in the 2008 market crash was liquidity. There wasn't enough liquidity. People weren't able to buy, sell, trade, move assets fast enough as the markets were crashing and stuff. So you need some type of solution to that liquidity issue. Guess what? Ripple, XRP Ledger, XRP token solves the liquidity issue. Not my words, his words. I'm just letting you know what goes on because no one's paying attention and mainstream media won't talk about it. But they'll tiptoe around it, right? They're telling you about Ripple, XRP, but they're not really telling you about it. Because well, think about it. All these digital currencies, how are they going to interact with each other? What networks are they going to go on? You see, we don't teach basic technology. That's why I made sure my kids are in a charter choice school where they're understanding technology. I'm gonna teach it to them as well because this is where we're going, right? Your jobs in the future will revolve around some type of uh, uh, understanding of digital technologies and electronic machines, something like that. Not necessarily AI. AI is not going to replace everything because you don't want to look at a robot or some type of low grade AI software program when you go get your fucking food. How you see McDonald's with the little touchscreens? Everybody sees touchscreens, right? We still go to the counter. Nobody got time for that shit, bro. Hey, I need to talk to a person somewhere. Yeah, you'll probably mess up my order, but at least I can. At least I know I'm talking to somebody. There's that human connectivity that we can't ever really replace. We're not gonna have those futuristic sci-fi movies where you see where it's just machines all over the place. That's not gonna happen. At least not in this timeline because we want to see people. Well, I can't say it's not gonna happen because who the fuck knows? They'll drop some fake pandemic, some shit, and next thing you know, they'll force it out of us, which I guess they just tried last year with the whole social distancing. See how that just connected? But it goes on to say, do no harm, and they're not gonna do anything. It's better. It says the United States Federal Reserve is studying possible designs for a digital dollar, but it is unclear if the central bank will ultimately adopt a digital greenback. That's a fucking lie. They know they will. And they will. They're just not telling you yet. That's all. That's all. They're just not telling you yet. And the Federal Reserve is not the United States government anyway, so they could do it whether they want to. They already been associated doing research projects with Digital Dollar Project, MIT, I think Stanford. I know MIT for sure. And it says a top Fed official recently expressed his skepticism over the usefulness of a Fed issued digital currency, arguing that private sector stablecoins would better facilitate cross border payments. So, yep, all they're telling you is that they're just going to do one thing. we're not going to develop it. We're going to have somebody else develop it. And yeah, we're just going to go with that. Arguing that a private sector stablecoins would be better to facilitate. So here's the funny thing is there's two big U.S. private sector stablecoins. USDC, which is backed by Circle, which is I think with Square, with Jack Dorsey, with all the people that invested in that company and stuff, and they're about to go public as well too. And then you have Tether, which seems to be some fucking Ponzi scheme, like some type of scam, pump and dump, wherever they got going on. But not to spend too much more time on this and stuff, man. I just want to throw that out there because what I really want to get into today was I often talk about how the government lies, and I say if you all you gotta do is look back in the past, and you'll see that the government lies, and they have admitted to it time and time again. So think about the things that they admitted to, and now think about the things that we still don't fucking know about yet, right? So this is from bestlifeonline.com. I never heard of this place ever before in my life, but I try to go with some mainstream media things that, look, it talks about coronavirus. So yeah, there you go. They're going along with a mainstream narrative. This article is from 2017 by Bob Larkin. Man, that don't even sound like a real name. So it says 20 United States or U.S. government secrets they don't want you to know. It's funny, they don't want you to know, but your ass get on the internet, you can find it out. Like I said, ignorance is a choice in the age of digital information. It says there are definitely a lot of governments. Fuck all that. We're gonna go right to it. So one, CIA mind control experiments, MK Ultra, right? We talked about it before on this podcast. For those you don't know, do your own research. I'll read a quick paragraph synopsis it has. It says, could drugs and hypnosis be used? Hold on, my phone. I just got a update on my phone for something that says Americans will need masks indoors as U.S. heads for a dangerous fall with SARS and Delta. Oh, get the fuck out of here. They really, man, I swear to God, I swear to God, if people fall for this Delta fucking thing, man, like we can't keep going over and over and over the same stuff, man. Fool me once, shame on me. Shame on you. Fool me twice, I'm the fucking dumbass, right? I just seen that on my phone, a notification, and I don't even know what the article is from. It's from this app, Newsbreak. I don't even want to go down that route. Let's stay on this. So yeah, could drugs and hypnosis be used to control people's minds and in turn turn them into, excuse me, unwitting assassins for the CIA? That's what the agency attempted to discover in the 50s with a top secret research program called MK Ultra. Turns out LSD just makes people want to listen to 45-minute guitar solos. So this is a good source, right? Because they're lying. So now let me know they're going along the mainstream narrative. So they're admitting to it, but they're still lying about it. Because I did a podcast episode on it. Go check out my back catalog. Oh, appreciate the donation. Go back and check out my catalog, and you'll see where I talk about this. Where as far as they didn't ever actually stop it, because MK Ultra turned into Manchurians and candidates and all this other stuff. I forget the other project names that went after it. And this is all CIA documented, right? So if an article like this really want to be honest about it, where's the link to the CIA documents, right? See how just misinformation every fucking where. It's not even disinformation. Well, no, this is more. Yeah, this is more or less is disinformation because they're letting you know what happened, but they're like, it wasn't that serious. Yeah, because pumping college students and whoever else with LSD and all types of drugs and stuff to figure out they can fuck with their minds and all types of things doesn't seem like it's that big of a deal, right? All right, let's move on to the next one. So number 2, the U.S. government had a plot to kill Castro. U.S. government got a plot to kill every fucking body. Haiti, Haitian president, Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, Clinton Foundation, earthquakes in Haiti, missing children in Haiti. I'm just gonna throw that out there, a little tidbit for a future podcast episode. Definitely pay attention. It says there were a lot of crazy attempts to assassinate Cuban dictator Fidel Castro during the 70s, from booby-trapped cigars to poison milkshakes, but none quite so nutty as the exploding seashell. The CIA knew that Castro was a big fan of scuba diving, so they plotted to plant a brightly colored cognac. I can't think of how to say that word. Shell in one of his favorite dive spots, triggered to explode when he touched it. They never followed through on it, although the CIA director did purchase 2 books on Caribbean mollusks. They're gonna just kill this man. Like, can you imagine killing someone while they're doing their favorite hobby? Right? Right? I guess if you're gonna kill somebody, it's not like you already killing them. I mean, I guess you ain't a samurai. You ain't worried about honor and stuff as you kill someone. You just gonna fucking kill them. Do whatever you want to do, right? Track 61, the president's secret underground train. President Franklin Delano Roosevelt didn't want the public to see him using a wheelchair, so to keep that secret during his visits to New York, his train didn't stop directly at Grand Central Station, but rather a secret station called Track 61 that was never listed on any train map. Although it's now abandoned, the station was used by wealthy travelers and high-profile politicians who wanted to come and go to New York without being noticed. Right? So it's a secret fucking train. Underground railroad tracks, right? But he did it just because he didn't want nobody to see him using a wheelchair. We're supposed to accept that narrative. And see, that's where the disinformation comes along. It's like, oh yeah, this was secret, but it's because it was just something like this. So you see it and you're like, oh man, well, why'd you hide it? Oh, that's not that bad. See, and they downplay it, right? They're downplaying the significance of it because if it's not that bad, why are you lying about it? If it's not that bad, why is CIA hiding that shit? Because the MK Ultra submitted, Senate committee that funny Joe Biden was a part of. Yep. Joe Biden was part of the Senate committee investigating CIA, former CIA agents, and any active CIA agents that they didn't talk about on MK Ultra research. And it was like, oh yeah, well they did it in the past and they're done with it, and that's it. Governments lie, bro. Governments always will lie because their underlining goal is to govern the people. And if they feel like they need to govern the people, well, guess what? That means they feel like they are responsible for knowing what's best for the people, for the citizens of the country, instead of being tools of the citizens of the country to be used. Right? You being in government is not supposed to be such a high profile job. It's supposed to be a civil service. You're just helping out. You're not supposed to be there for decades and decades on end. You're not a career. It's not a career. Yeah, you're not a career politician. It's not something you do for the rest of your life and shit. It's just civil service. You do it and then you go back to doing whatever you was doing. This is odd. It says the U.S. government once tried to train spy kitties. No, this isn't a joke. The CIA seriously spent millions in the late 60s investigating whether domesticated cats could be trained to spy on the Soviet Union. So now I'm paranoid about my fucking cat. Right? Right? There's no end to the CIA, man. There's no end to the CIA, bro. But when you see those Tom Clancy stories, so that, and those movies and those books, and those video games, and they talk about government operations and clandestine operations, and the CIA is involved, and they're trying to make it seem like, hey, these people are not so bad and decent. You can't be trusted, man. I'm sorry, you can't be trusted, man, because you're too shady, bro. I'm not gonna trust nobody. I can't determine what the fuck you're doing. You all got something to hide, right? You can't even be in a relationship with someone if they're always sneaking off and doing something. Like, why are you lying? Why are you hiding this? Why are you talking about that? It's just not something that should be going on, man. Let's see. And then Project Sunshine, still in corpses. Listen, if you need to test what happens to human bodies during radioactive fall and you need around 900 human cadavers to do so, you can't be exposed to ask all the deceased families for their permission. Or at least that's what researchers for the U.S. Atomic Energy Commission thought during the 50s. Decades later, in the mid 90s, President Bill Clinton formed an advisory committee to investigate and learn the whole staggering truth. So they took bodies to experiment on in the 50s. And they didn't come out with the truth decades later. That's what they always do, bro. They don't come out with the truth until decades later. Now, because of the internet, we don't have to wait decades. We could figure this shit out in a couple of weeks. But people still are waiting for the government to come out to tell them something. And now it's been like the next few months or maybe a year, 5 years, something like that. It's all being sped up faster and faster. But it's wild because stop waiting for these people to tell you something. If you know someone is a liar, you think you're gonna die trying to hold your breath waiting for them to tell you the truth. I think I used that whole thing. I'm pretty sure I said all that wrong, but you get what I'm saying. Don't sit there and expect these people to tell you the truth. If someone is lying to you, what do? You investigate. You figure out because you can feel when someone's lying to you because, like, hey, what you're saying doesn't add up. And I'm not going to question my intelligence, but it's kind of disrespectful that you're trying to question my intelligence or my level of awareness to think that I don't have no critical thinking skills to understand something. Right? So don't sit here and tell me some bullshit. And then decades later, but oh yeah, we did a commission, we found out. No, I'm not trying to figure out what happened during COVID-19, during 2020 and all this other shit. I'm not trying to wait decades later to figure out, oh, it's all conspiracy theory. No, we in it. I'm trying to figure this out in real time. Actually, if I was paying attention to some things, guess what? We'd have saw it happen before it happened. Been talking about these central bank digital currencies, been talking about digital money, quantum financial systems, been talking about this for the longest. Right? But people are still waiting for someone to make an announcement and tell them. Don't be that person, bro. And so 6 nukes on the moon. Long before landing on the moon in 1969, the United States Air Force had plans for a lunar surface. They proposed a lunar-based Earth bombardment system in 1959, which apparently involved blowing up a nuclear weapon on the moon. According to physicist Leonard Rifle, who was involved in the project, the whole point was to impress the world with the prowess of the United States. Personally, we're glad they went. Okay, so they're gonna blow up the moon or drop a nuclear bomb on the moon just to be like, oh, look how cool we are. Does that make sense, bro? Make that make sense. You gonna drop a nuclear weapon on the moon just to figure out, oh, what will happen? But then they was already doing that shit in Arizona and Nevada and stuff. They are dropping nuclear weapons out there, right? Or bombs, not necessarily nuclear weapons, but they definitely dropping nuclear weapons in the fucking ocean, the Pacific Ocean. So they don't like go to the moon so they can put on display so we all watch the moon blow up or something. Like what is that? And how we know they didn't do it anyways? Just on the dark side of the moon, the side of the moon that we can't fucking see for a reason because somehow the moon is locked on place with us where we can only see one side of it. Even though the other side is not the dark side of the moon, it actually gets light. We just can't see it though. But don't worry, make that make sense. Number 7, Operation Paperclip. They hired Nazis after World War II. And a lot of our technologies, medicines, especially with NASA, things like that, came from Nazi Germany. Nobody cares, man. Nobody cares about this. Nobody cares about this. We want to talk about Nazis now. Oh, this person not, that person not. No, we got a real Nazi that came over here, bro. It doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, it's if you could do something for me, I'm just going to ignore everything you did in the past. This is how government works. It says number 8, blame Cuba. It sounds like a conspiracy theory. All this shit is. But the CIA actually did propose committing acts of terrorism against American citizens and then blaming it on Cuba. It's Operation Northwood. Yeah, that's what it is. It does say it. A memo from March 13, 1962, delivered to the president by the United States Joint Chiefs of Staff and dubbed Operation Northwoods, suggested ways to justify military conflict with the Castro's communist regime, including sink a ship near harbor entrance, conduct funerals for mock victims. Conduct funerals for mock victims? Wait a minute. Sink a ship near a harbor entrance. Didn't they do that in the Gulf of Tonkin? They sunk a ship. And they said it was some other entities, and that was justification going to the Vietnam War. Mock funeral for mock victims. We see that with press conferences with things like Sandy Hook and stuff, and mock victims. Wasn't that George Floyd? They paraded his funeral all over TV. See what I'm talking about, right? See what I'm talking about? They use the same tactics over and over and over again. This stuff is like, oh yeah, we weren't able to do this. Don't worry, just put it on the shelf, and we can pull this shit off later on somebody else. Let's just make sure that we get a president in there that we know we can control, and this shit doesn't happen. In fact, let's get this guy out of there, and bam, JFK's dead. So you're telling me 2 years after this memo was delivered to him, JFK died, and that's just a coincidence? And we don't know who killed JFK? My fault. This was the Lee Harvey Oswald, right? He assassinated JFK, with a magic bullet from across the way. People heard shot from the grassy knoll, but whatever, it doesn't matter, man, because no one cares, right? I don't even know why they waste their time lying. The thing is, they can come out and tell the truth. And majority of Americans still wouldn't give a fuck. They'll be like, oh, okay, well, whatever. Well, we know we can't, it's the government. They can do whatever they want, you hear all the excuses, man. I done said those same excuses. But the biggest thing that you can have in a world like this right now is knowledge. Knowing. Information. Knowledge is power. I learned that in elementary school. That was like our motto. Government controlled flying saucers. Project 1794, a program created by U.S. Air Force in the 50s, attempted to do what every science fiction loving kid dreamed about, creating a flying saucer. I never dreamed about creating a flying saucer, so that whole statement's a lie right there. They're saucer-shaped aircraft which they never got around to completing would have been capable of shooting down enemy bombers and flying at ridiculously fast speeds. Hmm. Interesting. So they have a link to declassified blueprints, and they say they never got around to making it. So what they mean is they found something better. Number 10, the My Lai massacre. Hundreds of unarmed civilians, anywhere from 347 to 504, including women and children, in the South Vietnamese hamlet My Lai, were murdered by a platoon of American soldiers during March of 1968. High-ranking Army officers tried to cover up the massacre for years before it was revealed by U.S. reporters, but even then, only one commanding officer was found guilty and served just a few years under house arrest. Fucking house arrest? House arrest. House arrest. But if you smoke some weed, your ass going to jail. You want to know why he got that, though? Because he was following orders. He's the fall guy, but he was following orders. He was like, hey, just be the fall guy. We'll make sure you get off easy. Don't worry about it. And I'm pretty sure that house arrest wasn't even really that serious. They probably still let him leave and stuff. They just put this press out there for everybody. Because they didn't even mention the name of the person. And you want to know why people come back from Vietnam and overseas stuff a little off? Because they see the reality, right? I talk about it often, man. When I went up to the tower, when I was at Bagram Air Base, I went up to the tower and I looked out and I was like, oh shit, there's a church down the street. So I'm like, oh, so that's where y'all go after we get done checking y'all and stuff, and y'all leave for the day for the Afghani workers that work in the kitchen and stuff. And as we check them or whatever, and they leave for the day and stuff. Oh, so that's where y'all be going. Oh, y'all walk. Oh my God, that's where y'all live at. Oh, that's a little community. That's where you shop at. Oh, there's a farm over here. Oh wow. So one of y'all that dropped the motors the other night, y'all just live down the street. And then you think, hey, should I be mad enough for dropping a motor on us? Right outside my fucking bedroom window? Should I be mad about that? Seeing that shit walk as I'm walking to get food out of the Connex boxes? Should I be mad when, hey, I shouldn't be here in y'all backyard anyways, right? Kind of fucked up when you think about it. Let somebody put a base in your backyard and see how you react to something. Oh, just because you're not a terrorist doesn't mean you might not have some ill will towards the United States government and their allies. You know, Japan, what is it? Egypt, for whatever fucking reason they were there. Jordan, Australia, the Brits, the UK. It says a missing hydrogen bomb. US B-52 bomber carrying 4 hydrogen bombs crashed in Greenland in 1968. And then in 2008, a BBC investigation revealed that one of the nukes was maybe still in Greenland somewhere. Okay, that's an issue, right? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. The mystery of the USS Jimmy Carter, the U.S. Navy attack submarine, the third and last Seawolf class submarine in existence, whose primary mission is finding and destroying enemy vessels, has been up to something recently, but nobody is entirely sure what. What? Has been up to something recently. This is from 2017. Is this still at least? So I'm guessing this was current as the time of this the article was written. It says in September of oh shit, okay. In September of this year, which would have been 2017, it was spotted flying the Jolly Roger, the skull and crossbones pirate flag normally displayed after a successful mission. But what exactly was the mission? The Navy isn't telling. But okay. Okay. See, it's shit like that, bro. It's shit like that. And people in the United States of America, the United States citizens probably feel like, oh, well, we just don't need to know about these things because these are a clandestine operation. They're helping keep us safe. Yeah, but at the same time, you should want to know where your money's going and how it's being spent and used. Because after if they're gonna say these things, right? If they're gonna say these things, right, and do these things, we give us something, man. Like you can kind of give some information that's declassified, where it's not an ongoing investigation or an ongoing top secret mission. Give us something. Don't just tell us that a fucking Navy ship is flying around and going around and everything, submarine doing whatever stuff, and nobody knows what's going on. That's what kind of bothers me because we think they're attacking enemies, but whose enemies? Enemies of who? Me and you, the average American citizen, or for those in other countries, your citizenship. Are people actually attacking the regular citizens that live in that country, or are they just attacking the government? Because people don't understand, like, there's two different things going on. When they say they hate United States of America, they hate the United States government. But guess what? Majority of people in the United States of America, the citizens, don't like the government either. So we have common enemy, right? Right? If I have a common enemy with someone, I probably shouldn't even say this shit. NSA is gonna be listening. Fuck it, whatever. If we have a common enemy with someone, the Taliban, ISIS, or whatever, and we both don't like the United States government, and we on the same page, so why they all be like, oh, they hate us, they hate America, they hate us Americans. No, 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 no. They don't like the government. Just when we talk about China and CCP, the Chinese Communist Party, oh, guess exactly what we don't like? The party, right? The communism, what they're doing to the people in the country, and not allowing a little bit more freedom, right? Anybody fucking free, but allowing a little bit more freedom. But yet, why? We don't say we hate the Chinese citizens. No, because everybody is just regular, everyday people doing their own thing, mind their own business, right? Even those that join the military, they don't necessarily believe in everything, they don't back everything, but hey, there's some benefits to it, and you just take it. But the real question is, why can't we know what's going on? At least something, man. Right? At least something. Then again, goes back to what I was saying. Even if we did know, nobody gives a fuck. Nobody cares. Number 13, secret Congress bunker. You never guess by looking at this Greenbrier Hotel in West Virginia that there's a 112,544 square foot bunker hidden underneath the resort with enough bedrooms to accommodate over 1,000 congressmen. The shelter was built in the 60s specifically for members of Congress, just in case Russia bombed us and a nuclear winter made the country uninhabitable. Cool. Cool. Then you have the CIA torture files. I did a podcast episode about that. Hell, they fucking made a movie, and it's on Amazon about it. Which is called, I always forget what it's called too, man. What is it called? The Report. And it's about the CIA torture files. They called it enhanced segregation techniques, but according to the Senate report released in 2014, that happened in 2014. The movie came out like 2019, 2020. The CIA has possibly been engaged in wrongful torture of suspected criminals for years. Of course they have. Of course they have. How do you think they're gonna get information? You really think you're gonna ask somebody nicely and stuff? Right? This is what goes along in that world and stuff, man. This is why they train military members when we go overseas and stuff to be prepared to get tortured. I mean, now this that also fucks up people's head too. That you've been even entry level SEER training, and I cannot think of what the acronym means for SEER training, and I don't feel like looking up. But even entry level SEER training teaches you how to evade and avoid capture, and what happens if you get captured and stuff, and try to make sure that you won't talk once you get tortured. Even though you don't know nothing, you never know what information you can provide might help somebody. Even me just working in the dining facility, right? Me just cooking and stuff. Well, if you know exactly how the food truck deliveries are done, how much money is spent or whatever, you could get into someone's food, poison the supply, and kill everybody. It's that simple. And I'm not saying nothing that no one has not already thought of. It's literally that simple. Number 15, Julia Child, CIA shark expert. You notice the CIA keeps popping up on the list, right? Central Intelligence Agency. When do you need a Central Intelligence Agency, and then you have a billion other intelligence agencies as well? What is the whole purpose of CIA? Even though they're not supposed to operate on American soil yet, they're only for foreign entities. But don't you have? What's the fucking point of military branch? I thought that was for foreign entities as well. But don't worry, CIA just exists. Excuse me, for the Office of Strategic Services or whatever. OSS was the original name of it. So Julia Childs, you probably know Julia Childs, a famous American chef and TV host. Nope, never heard of her. This goes way back though. But according to files released by U.S. National Archives in 2008, she was a she was also one of our secret weapons during World War II. She worked for the Office of Strategic Services, which would become the CIA, and personally developed shark repellent to protect Navy men in shark-infested waters. So the lady that became a chef developed shark repellent stuff. How do I not know she put shark repellent stuff in her food and to put into people's bodies? It seems wild, yet why the fuck is a famous American TV chef was doing shit for the CIA before then? See how regular people just could be CIA assets? You see all the time in these movies. It's better to have someone that's not tied to any government, so when they do stuff, they're like, oh, we didn't do it. Oh yeah, but these people say they're working for you. Oh, we don't know who that is. They don't have no CIA documents. They're not an agent. But they say they were working for you. Oh, we don't know these people. In fact, you know what? Give us, let us have a person. Let us interrogate them and figure out who they're working for. Right? Like it's that simple. Because the story in which that you're giving off, because those in the espionage world, they know what's going on, right? There's whole different levels of worlds going on. Yeah, espionage, crime, drugs, and stuff like that. There's whole separate worlds. All these different worlds going on right in front of your eyes. You never see an investigation take place in broad daylight, yet it happens all the time because how you think people are captured, right? How you think evidence is gathered? It's right in front of your face. You just don't notice it, right? The little things I did with OSI and stuff in the Air Force. It was at nighttime, going out to bars, hanging out and stuff, gathering information for them. Just a regular person. Makes you wonder why I'm suspicious of people and shit. Cause man, you get put in a situation, you're like, fuck, how do I not know somebody else is doing the same thing? Am I paranoid? No. But is my suspicion and paranoid justified? Yes. My suspicion justified. Just skepticism. Let's put it like that. That's a better word. Skepticism. Number 16, spy on reporters. Think journalists have heard it today. They had nothing on reporters in 1963, some of whom were spied on by CIA agents as part of Operation Mockingbird. And documents declassified in 2007. So 1963, 2007. There were reports of several journalists having their home and office telephones wiretapped solely because they had contacts with senators, members of Congress, and other well-placed individuals. And also Operation Mockingbird goes into paying off those journalists, which later on become CIA assets, and we now know that still continues to go on. Was it Tucker Carlson saying that the NSA was spying on him, then come to find out the NSA was spying on him? Even though we all know the NSA spies on everybody. NSA just popped up out of nowhere too, even though NSA kind of been around since the National Security Act, which happened in 1947, I believe. Same year that the Roswell crash happened, and then the same year that Air Force was created too, after being branched off from the Army. That's a lot for 1 year. I'm just saying. Number 17, the secret basement under Grand Central. You can't find on the city map, but 13 stories below Grand Central Terminal in New York is a secret basement known only as M42, which housed the rotary power converters that kept the railroads running during World War II. Adolf Hitler wanted to sabotage the converters, which apparently would be as easy as pouring sand into them. Armed guards protected the room with orders to shoot anyone who tried to enter. Blah blah. So that was an issue. Number 18. Now, as I was reading this earlier this morning, I was like, whoa, I was shocked, right? Because I was like, so it says the X-37B. It says, here's what we know about the U.S. Air Force's X-37B space plane. Yeah, you heard that right. Fucking space plane. So U.S. Air Force. Yes, U.S. Air Force Space Command. U.S. Space Force, which is still a department of the U.S. Air Force because it's Air Force Space Command, the same thing. And you know, it's considered a new branch of the government as far as military-wise go. Yet, Air Force Space Command has always been there. So, X-37B space plane. You never heard that shit in your life? Maybe you have. I definitely haven't. Makes you wonder, right? It says it's been in orbit around Earth off and on since 2010. It's only 29 feet long, and nobody has any idea what it's doing up there. Well, the Air Force does obviously, but they're not telling. This is what the article is saying. Some have speculated that it's a battleship of some kind capable of shooting down or capturing enemy satellites. Like I said, we have no idea what space is. We have no idea what actually is going on in space. We don't know what the fuck space even looks like. And that's the thing we should all be focusing on. That's probably why I was like sci-fi movies and stuff, because they're not gonna, just because they're gonna show me space is always dark and gloomy, bro. No, 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 fuck that. I'm still curious. I want to know. But I never wanted to be an astronaut. I never wanted to be an astronaut because something about all that just doesn't add up to me. So it just seems, the whole thing seems odd to me, right? The whole thing just seems odd to me. NASA, astronauts, it just all seems just odd. It's really odd because you would think I'm going into space. I should have the most advanced technology. Yet when you look at NASA, you be like, bro, why y'all still got like outdated shit? And then you see Elon Musk come along with SpaceX and stuff. And I guess now with Jeff Bezos and Blue Origins, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, now we're getting private sector involved with innovative technology. But it's like, wait a minute. NASA's been around forever, so y'all been going to space, U.S. Air Force, Air Force Space Command and stuff like that. You tell me it's the best y'all got? You really want me to believe it's the best y'all got? You really want me to believe you still walk around with these big ass space suits and shit and helmet and stuff, right? You really want me to believe that shit? Something just seems off about it, man. My thing is, when I first read this, the first thought I had was, wait a minute, didn't I hear about this before? And I was like, no, I never heard about this. And I was like, oh yeah, I did. In that movie. Or excuse me, TV show rather. Movie first, then TV show, Stargate. The TV show Stargate SG-1. And they developed a space plane. And in the TV show, they literally are operating out of Cheyenne Mountain. Well, not literally. I hope not literally. But they were working with Air Force Space Command. They were working with Air Force. There's actual Air Force people in the TV show. A general at one time appeared on the TV show. One of the lead actors, he received a medal or something like that from the Air Force for portraying the Air Force in high regard, stuff like that. That's propaganda also. But at the same time, like, you have to wonder, okay, because they're going to have to release some information, not necessarily just to tell the American citizens and the people around the world what's going on, but really to let those other government agencies and those other military operations be like, hey, how do you know? Let's be honest, man. People like to brag, right? You don't want to tell you. I don't want to tell you exactly what I'm doing, but at the same time, like, I want you to know, hey, don't fuck around with us. This is what we got, right? Right? That's a bravado, right? Especially in America, that's a bravado you have. Like, hey, I'm not gonna tell you exactly what I got going on, but just so you know, I will put this in the TV show. So you watch the TV show and you see people in Air Force, actual BDUs walk around, legitimate, legalized nameplate stuff like that, because you're not even supposed to wear it like that in these movies, because you're not supposed to portray any military members, right? It's against the law, or even law enforcement officials. It's against the law. But you get in a movie and a TV show, all of a sudden you can do it. Why? Why is that? Because they have the rights to, because they have the agreements to by those actual entities. So they're gonna agree to it. Well, what else are they gonna agree to? Hey, make us look good. Hey, put the space plane in there. I was like, okay, that's cool. And then somebody would be like, oh, what? Hey, do y'all actually have a space plane? No, 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 no. But it looks cool. It looks cool. 19 Area 51. I'm not gonna read that. You don't know, that's on you. And then number 20, Bohemian Grove. So it says every July the rich and this is what Alex Jones is actually known for. For those who don't know, Alex Jones was originally known for dropping this back in the late 90s, I think, early 2000s. The Bohemian Grove, being going out there and recording this and stuff. Although Alex Jones is still kind of an iffy person, you don't really know who he actually is, stuff, and it's kind of interesting, if he's part of a disinformation campaign, if he actually is trying to tell the truth. Yeah, anyway, it makes you wonder. So it says every July, the rich and powerful and politically connected gather together at a 2,700-acre campground in Northern California for their own version of Burning Man, which I guess is one of those things you go out in the fucking woods, out in the desert and sell. I don't know. I don't know. People do some wild shit, bro. It's still tribalism. What really goes on there is anybody's guess, but the guest list has included U.S. presidents and oil barons, and activities have included everything from Druid worship, the occult. They're sitting there fucking worshiping a big ass owl, which is interesting because Stephen Lagarde always has a little owl pin, president of the European Central Bank. But whatever. Let's see, included everything from Druid worship, occultic. I like how they said Druid worship. They're talking about occultic things, to planning for the Manhattan Project. This is some conspiracy theory. This is where guys like Rumsfeld, Kissinger, and Rockefeller go to vacation and do things they don't want the rest of us to see. That lets you know exactly. Rumsfeld, Donald Rumsfeld, is Iraqi, Afghan wars and stuff like that going on, Iran, Syria. They have their lists and stuff of countries. Kissinger, he wanted to go after the Middle East, want to go after the oil and stuff like that. Go out there, help Saudi Arabia do whatever to protect their oil fields so we get their oil and stuff. Hey, not making this shit up. These reports. Do your research. And I have another thing. This is from Listverse, and it says 10 people who expose U.S. government secrets and lies. I'll run through this real quick. So it says, let me get rid of this ad and this one. So it says number 10, Gary Webb, The Dark Alliance. I talked about Gary Webb before on this podcast. I probably should do a real breakdown. That'll be interesting. And that's something I just want to go back over too, just so I can kind of re-educate myself and remember the details, that just in case. I know I probably missed shit in the past anyways. So it says in 1996, Gary Webb, a writer for the San Jose Mercury News, published a series of articles known as Dark Alliance. The articles detail how the CIA, there you go again, fucking CIA, details how the CIA turned a blind eye as Nicaraguan drug traffickers sold and distributed crack cocaine in Los Angeles throughout the 1980s. Rick Ross talked about this too. The real Rick Ross, Freeway Rick Ross, not, the rapper that stole his name, but yet nobody really cares about. It also described how the Reagan administration protected drug dealers from prosecution. It's how they make their money, bro. The biggest drug dealers. The biggest drug dealers in the United States government, man. This is how you make your money off the books, and you also make your money through fraud. So the same thing going on with like Bitcoin and stuff. And they'll let these things continue to go, or Ethereum. They let these things continue going on and on and on, and then they'll crack down on it because they'll take the money on fraud and stuff, and then that's it. There you go. You just sat there and got $1 billion for not doing shit. Because you sat back and watched people do the same thing over and over and over. And you just kept gathering evidence and collecting stuff. Because that's what they do. They wait until you get a significant level of really monetary value, and then they take you down. And I'm speaking from, well, not experience, but being told. I talked about, joining or applying for OSI and stuff. Guy told me that. And it's not like a big secret. Like, it's not that big of a deal. Like, if you pay attention, they tell you. Hell, they put in TV shows. They put in movies. You know what they do? They sit there and they'll let somebody sell drugs for the longest. But until they bring in $1 million a day, that's when they go crack them down. That's when they go crack down. Because before then, it's not financially worth their time. You don't get paid enough. Fuck that. I'm not going in. I'll wait till they make millions of dollars. Then I'll go in and take it. Because now that's our funding for the next couple of years. Off the books. It says, according to Webb, the CIA allowed the traffickers to ship large amounts of drugs into the country because the profits were being used to fund the Reagan-supported Contras, a rebel group opposing the socialist Sandinista government in Nicaragua. Naturally insinuating the crack cocaine epidemic of the 80s was partially caused by the government. So, before I even go on to read more of this, my thing is, when you talk about the 80s crack cocaine epidemic, I don't know what I call it. It's crack. It's cocaine. There's no crack cocaine. It's cocaine. They try to break it up like crack because it's cocaine. It's still cocaine. And because you do a little bit shit with it, maybe add some baking soda. I'm not really giving you the recipe for it, but you get what I'm saying. just because you do a little shit to it, it's still cocaine. It might be a little bit watered down and stuff, but majority of our food and products that we consume anyway is already watered down. Especially our beer in America, that ain't shit. So as we as they talk about all this stuff, and people will think, oh, well, they attacked the black community, they attacked the minority community, the inner city. They just did it whoever the fuck they can get away with it, too, right? They just the people that didn't care, and black people don't want to admit to this. People don't want to admit to this in their own local communities that a lot of people just don't fucking care. They don't care what happens. They don't care what goes on down the street. I mean, to each their own. You can, you cannot. It doesn't matter. I guess it does matter to an extent, but it's your choice to make. But they just targeted whoever they figured they could target. That's it. Because they already put these people into a category because of so-called race, right? That's why when I keep saying I don't like race, it's because when I look back in history, it seems like people are like, oh, they did this to these people, they did this to these people. But it's like, wait a minute, nah. They just picked a group of people they could do it to and get away with. It doesn't matter what the skin color is, doesn't matter what the social economic class, none of that stuff. If they could do it to somebody, they will do it to them. When I say they, these government entities, these and through the people that they're associated with. They want to do these certain things, right? All it takes is somebody sitting in the office somewhere to come up with an idea, and as long as they have the highest security clearance or they have the job title, everyone else beneath them will just go along with it. Because guess what? The people beneath them don't know the full story, and they don't ask questions. They just sit there. This is how government works. Nobody asks questions. Why? Because you just do what you're supposed to do. Compartmentalization of information. You only know what you need to know to get your fucking job done. Stop asking questions. Right? If you're curious, being in government is the wrong place to be at. if you want to ask questions like why are you doing this, why are you doing that, being in government is the wrong place to be at, especially military. In military, you flat out told, hey, shut the fuck up. Don't ask what we're doing. Do as you're told. Hey, what? Yeah, you get like young airmen and stuff. Like, Sergeant Jackson, why are we doing this? Boy, hey man, I'll be honest with you. What we're doing seems really stupid, right? I don't get it either and stuff. But you go ask that question if you want to. I'm gonna let you know right now. You ask that question, they're gonna tell you to shut up. and I'm powerless. I'll be honest with you. I had so many times my troops be like, "Oh, Sergeant Jackson, you do this, Sergeant Jackson." I'm like, "Look, man, I know they keep telling y'all to come to me and go to your supervisor, your media supervisor, and stuff like that. And I'm an NCO, and I don't have no power. They're lying to you, right? They're lying to you. They just don't want to deal with you. They tell you to go to me so I can tell you no, right? Because they don't want to tell you the truth because they're too afraid to tell you exactly what's going on. And they're not allowed to tell you exactly what's going on, right? But they want me to tell you. I'm like, I don't have no power. So you can come complain to me all you want to, and I can't do nothing. I'll tell them, right? I'll tell them for you, but there's nothing going to happen. Nothing's going to come out of this. And then months down the line and stuff, then the young airman will see it and be like, oh man, you were right. They don't care. It's like I told you, bro. It's just how the infrastructure is set up in military in the United States government. You do as you're told. You shut the fuck up because at the end of the day, you want to collect your paycheck because everybody got a family to feed. Everybody got friends. Everybody got somebody to support other than just themselves. Hell, it could be just their fucking pet, right? Their dog, their cat, doesn't matter. Everybody's trying to support themselves. Nobody wants to go looking out like a failure that they got kicked out of the military. So they're all trying to do their job and just feed themselves. And part of doing your job and feeding yourself is accepting orders, stop asking questions, shut the fuck up, and do your job. This is how government operates. So when we say they, that's a wild thing because we don't really know because it could just be one or two people. It doesn't really take that much. Because if people perceive someone in a position of power and authority, then everyone else will just fall along the list for no fucking reason. Or if anything, they'll fall on the list because of a job title. Because they want to make sure they continue to collect their paycheck. Right? And then it becomes the story or an issue of what do you do? What do you do? Do you stand up and say something and risk, getting in trouble, getting your pay docked? Because that happens, right? You get your pay docked in the military. You do some shit, you get your pay docked. I've seen people, lose their paychecks. And I've seen people lose their stripes and stuff over simple shit in their own personal lives. So imagine what you'll do if you fuck up a mission. Hell, you'll be well, they say you'll be hitting rocks in Leavenworth or something for the rest of your life, man. A federal prison. Well, man, so the thing was with Gary Webb, like it's not that hard, man. I'll tell you, some people in a position of power in government or perceived position of power in government because they have a job title. And guess what? Everyone else will be like, all right, I ain't saying I'm not getting in trouble for this. You'll do the same thing. You'll do the same thing. You'll be like, damn, that's crazy. That's fucked up. Somebody should say something. And that's the first thing you'll say. Somebody should say something. But not you. Yeah, somebody should say something, but you're not about to say it because your first thought like, I ain't fucking up my paycheck. What? I mean, somebody should say something, and then so you'll get people try to go out to reporters and stuff like that, trying to go to somebody that can report and say something. That way, they say themselves. Not everybody's gonna fall on a grenade, man. We all ain't Captain America, right? You're not Steve Rogers. You're not jumping on a grenade to protect everybody around you. Those are rare human beings, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. Those are rare human beings because self-preservation is a strong thing. It's a strong thing. You don't have to. You can manipulate anybody as long as you put them into a state of perpetual fear where they're afraid that something will happen to their life personally, whether it affects their life financially or affects their life physically, or spiritually, emotionally, wherever that threatens their reality of existence. Self-preservation is a real thing. And if I tell you to keep your mouth shut, if you don't keep your mouth shut, I'll find some way to take your money and mess up your life. Guess what you're gonna do? You're gonna think long and hard about it, but you're gonna keep your mouth shut. And then after that, you're gonna be like, shit, you're gonna lose your brain, you're gonna lose your mind, you're gonna break. And that's why a lot of bets be a little bit off the wall, right? And you don't have to be in the top secret job or something. It just be something simple, man. It doesn't have to be nothing, what you see on TV and stuff. So that's all the government, the CIA, the regular they can get away with this stuff, right? Because groupthink, everybody wants to align with a certain group. So you're too busy saying, oh, they're doing it to us because we're this color. No, they're doing it because it's about money and they're just trying to figure out who they can get away with it. Who can they do it to and get away with it? That's it. It's like, hey, we can do it to these people. They already think that everything is done to them because of their skin color. They don't actually know what the fuck is going on. So let's do it to these people. Bam, crack epidemic in the minorities and the black communities, right? There you go. Fuck up a whole generation of people. I'm laughing because it's that simple, man. Yet we get distracted by all the stuff that is just made up. It's just made up. We should all be focusing on what the governments are doing, what these corporations are doing, what these people behind the scenes. We always say, well, who's the they? Where are they at? And all that stuff. Those are great questions, right? So let's figure it out. Who is pulling the strings, right? Is it the leader of this union? All right? Is it this senator? Is it this congressman? Is it the president? Is it these people in CIA? Or is it these rogue agents? Or is it these rogue assets? Like, is it this corporation? Well, is it Lockheed Martin, the CEO? Like, let's figure it out. Let's ask these questions, man. But nobody wants to. It goes on. You have Watergate. I'm just gonna run through these real quick. I already went over that timeline. I want to go anyway. The Pentagon Papers with Daniel Ellsberg. 1971 disclosed the Pentagon Papers and confirmed what many U.S. citizens had suspected for decades. The government lied about its actions and involvement in the Vietnam War through four consecutive presidential administrations. See, four. You want to know why? They told them what I'm pretty sure they all said the same thing. Hey, you keep your mouth shut. If not, you want to end up like JFK? I mean, what would you do? You run for president, you think you're doing the right thing, all this stuff, and you trying to help out the country, and next thing you know, it's like everybody gets in there and flips the script. I mean, some of them is predetermined, they're going to do that anyways, but some of them could be genuine, like, damn, if you really trying to kill me, I'm going to keep my fucking mouth shut. I ain't trying to go down as a modern history where I got assassinated. Fuck that. Every president after JFK, that's our last modern assassination of a U.S. president. Every president after JFK had to be going there thinking all it takes is me to do the wrong thing or say the wrong thing against the wrong entities, people within their own government, bankers, whoever, corporations, whoever else, people with some resources and so-called wealth and power, or at least monetary wealth. All I gotta do is say, hey, we don't like what you're doing, let's kill this guy. You don't think that just happened in Haiti? Somebody didn't like what the Haitian president was doing. They went there and killed him and shot his wife. Now that's fucked up, right? Right? Let's be honest, man. You had to shoot the man's wife. Like that's excessive. Hell, what if the man had dogs? I'm gonna do some further research on that. I think I'm gonna do an episode on it because what they went there and killed the man's dog. Right? We all know that's fucked up. You don't kill a man's dog. You see what happened in John Wick. You don't kill a man's dog. That's unnecessary, bro. Or shoot at it. Like that's unnecessary, man. Why did you do that? You don't go after the person's family, man. That's unnecessary. But this is what happened in government. You know what? I want to go back up. As I said, I was talking about this Gary Webb thing. It says in 2004, he was found dead with 2 gunshot wounds in the head. How a motherfucker could shoot himself twice in the head and it's called suicide? You can't make this stuff up, man. You can't make this stuff up. This is why I have issues with the government, because of things like this, right? Things like this, and was all coming being found out by the time I had joined, and I already knew a little bit of this stuff because I grew up watching the History Channel. I grew up watching all these documentaries, so I knew the government was already shady anyways. And I still joined, right? I try to put myself in a situation where, actually, you know what? No. I'm glad everything turned out the way it did. I'm glad I got stuck in the kitchen because my dumb ass was trying to be into intelligence because I wanted to know. I'm glad I never made it that. I'm glad I never really went down that career path because I kept denying it. Every time I got close to doing it, I backed out. And I could have always done it, but I backed out because it never felt right with me. Because knowing me, I know I probably would have gotten into a situation where my own personal morals and values would have been brought into question, and I've been questioning myself, trying to figure out, hey, should I be doing this? Should I say this? Because I was going after intelligence jobs, like I said, OSI, Office of Special Investigation, FBI, and I was going after cyberspace defense operations, which is under Space Force Command or Air Force Space Command. I was about to get an intel job. I didn't do that. Decided not to do that. Geospatial intelligence, look at satellite images, things like that. Like, I'm glad I never went down that road. Someone kept telling me don't do it because I probably wouldn't be able to handle it because my dumb ass would have probably blew the whistle and I'd have been fucking dead somewhere. And I would have been another person you might have heard about, right? And my kids would have been the ones to suffer. They didn't even know if daddy was a hero or a fucking turncoat or a traitor or something like that. Because that's all it takes, bro. That's all it takes. That's all it takes. But you see, in 2004, Gary Webb committed suicide. The official cause of death was considered suicide. I don't know about you. I don't know how a motherfucker killed himself with 2 gunshot wounds to the head. 2 gunshot wounds to the head. It says, although Webb's family is confident his depression and inability to find a job drove him to suicide, no, they're not. There are many who believe he was murdered. The family realized, hey, if they could do this and get away with it, we need to keep our mouth shut. Self-preservation. And you can't blame nobody for that, man. It takes a different type of person to really just put themselves out. You literally putting your complete life online and not know, hey, I'm going on the front lines. Yeah, that's preparing yourself for risk and you having some training. But I'm talking about someone busting into your house in the most skilled, tactful way and killing you and making that shit look like you killed yourself and no one thinks different of it. Nobody wants to go out that way. Nobody wants their death to be a continuous murder mystery. We ain't talking about no Forensic Files episode either. We talking about some real government shit. Clearly, the CIA killed him. I mean, it don't take no rocket science to figure that out. He broke open a story based on the CIA. So who you think fucking killed him? The CIA. If not directly an agent, more than likely an asset. Happens all the time. This is in 2004. He broke the story in was it? I think it was 1996. He broke the story in 2004. In 2004. Also, what this article didn't tell you about either is how Bill Clinton was connected to that because they were landing planes on airstrips in Arkansas while Bill Clinton was governor there. And I'm pretty sure Hillary Rodham Clinton, which I think she has a more prominent family lineage, was also a top lawyer there as well, right? But just making this up, right? I'm not making it up. My fault. It's all coincidence. Excuse me. Yes, it's all coincidence. It's all coincidence. And he was not vindicated until after his death. Recent internal blah 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 blah. To go back to the Pentagon Papers. So this is the Vietnam War thing. Talked about it earlier. It says some of the worst evidence found in the papers. The administration had strong intelligence that Vietnam was a war they could not win, but they joined anyway. The U.S. hadn't won a war since World War II, bro. Every war is a loss. Because you can't go into somebody's country backyard and think you're going to win. Because, yeah, you can blow up everything and so that, but nobody's trying to do that because you don't want to blow up infrastructures and mess up the environment and stuff. You want to be able to use the land and resources and stuff like that. You can't go into someone's backyard in Afghanistan and the cave stuff and think you're going to know your way around, bro. They've been living there for generations. They know the land better than you do. You're always going to lose, man. You're always going to lose. You're meant to lose because you shouldn't be going to someone's backyard thinking you're going to win. If they come to my house and beat me, I know every inch of my house. You don't know it, so I know where to be at. Unless you're surveilling my house for the longest stuff, that too. It says the U.S. had no real interest in helping South Vietnam and entered the war only for political maneuvers. No shit. Leaving the war before a pro-American government was installed was never considered. The John F. Kennedy administration had plans to overthrow South Vietnamese leader Ngo Diem. On the campaign trail, President Johnson promised to scale back the war, even though he had specific plans to bomb North Vietnam. The U.S. expanded the war and conducted bombings and raids without informing American people. There you go. This goes on, but boils down to Eisenhower, Kennedy, Johnson, and Nixon all lying about the Vietnam War. Of course. Because everybody lies, man. Because governments lie. Governments lie. You see how long it went through, right? 4 consecutive presidential administrations. They all lied about it. They all lied about it. That's what they do. Even the best can lie, right? Even if you think someone has good intentions, they might be doing something good, they still can lie. We just don't know why they're lying. And that's, like I keep saying, that is the most disturbing thing because we don't really know why anybody's actually fucking lying. This number 7, Thomas Drake Trailblazer. I said, how did Thomas Drake, a former senior executive at a national security agency, end up working at an Apple retail store? By doing such dastardly things as trying to protect the Fourth Amendment and eliminate wasteful spending. So this man was trying Fourth Amendment wasteful spending, Fourth Amendment improper seizure of evidence, or trying to break into or trying to get into your house without a search warrant. There you go. Searching without a search warrant, and then wasteful spending, which the government is known for wasteful spending. Man, they'll waste a lot of fucking money. Let's see. What did he do? Okay, he got tried under the Espionage Act of 1917, and he faced up to 35 years in prison. He came into the government's crosshairs after disclosing unclassified information about Trailblazer, a $1.2 billion NSA program that infringed on people's privacy rights. And we know what the NSA is still doing. The NSA, we all know the NSA is spying on us, yet the NSA still exists. And people are like, oh, well, we can't stop it. Well, yes, we can. All you gotta do is just say, hey, why y'all doing this shit? But don't worry, we're too distracted. We're too worried about Black Lives Matter, too worried about Democrats, Republicans. We're too worried about what goes on in the sports world. We're too worried about race and homosexuality and all that other bullshit. Meanwhile, we can't say anything without everybody listening to us. Without an agency of government listening to us. Everything you're doing. And now the digital money, guess what? Gonna be tracked everywhere too. Now they want to know not only what we're doing all the time, listening to our conversations, trying to see us, because through facial recognition, like I said, it's always conspiracy theories, right? It's all crazy, yet it exists. It's funny because no one talks about facial recognition, yet you allow your face to recognize you every time you unlock your phone. I do it, but I'm already. You already know me and my family been in the government. My kids were born into the military, right? They got their checkups on military base. All our documents are already there. My private citizenship been gone. It's been gone, bro. It is what it is, man. We all do things for money. I think there's always been that meme, or I see somewhere like, what's the craziest thing you did for money? Join the military. It's wild, bro. It's wild. No, didn't start an OnlyFans page. Joined the military instead. So the government initially designed trailblazers as a method of sifting through the increasing amounts of electronic communications created by the internet, cell phones, and elsewhere. While having a program to fill such a need is understandable, what? No, it's not. There was an alternative program known as what? Thin thread? Thin thread? I don't know how to say that. That was more efficient. Only cost $3 million and didn't violate the privacy of ordinary citizens. Although Drake continually advocated using thin thread, the bloated and unlawful Trailblazer system was adopted instead. Yeah. Why would I use something that's cost cost effective, more beneficial, and protects private citizens' rights? Fuck no. They don't want to protect private citizens' rights. They want to know everything. Everything. It's the job of the government to know everything because put it into their perspective. Those top brass, the people top of the military, those top officials in the government, those that have been there for you want to know who has a finger on the government and who does shady things? See how long someone's been a senator or a congressman. Right? No no one's above speculation as far as I'm concerned. So the thing is, with all this, like, why would they go with something more cost effective and whatnot when they want to know all information? Because government, how can the government govern someone if they don't know how they think, if they don't know how they act, if they don't know their emotions, if I don't know if you're a threat or not? You got to put yourself in the government's shoes. Think of yourself as a president of the United States. Think of yourself as some top government agent, a CIA, a senator, whatever. Think, if I'm responsible for governing people because I was picked or elected or I was appointed, well, what's the best way I can govern people? Well, I don't know. Well, I need to figure out who these people are. Well, what's a good way to figure out who they are? Well, we can listen to their conversations. No, we can't do that. That's invading their privacy. Yeah, but we need to figure out how, how are we gonna stop another attack? I'm like, well, what attack? We never know. There might be an attack. Well, there's not an attack. We never had an attack on American soil, right? So we're good. Well, we had Pearl Harbor, but that doesn't count. It was in Hawaii, right? It wasn't in the continental United States. Oh, well, shit. I don't know. Next thing you know, 9/11, Patriot Act. Oh, see, I told you. Look, it was an attack on American soil. Now we have the Patriot Act. Now we need to know everything about everybody because we don't know if this can happen again. It's plausible, bro. It's plausible. It's not that hard to think of these things, man. The easy part is think of it. Now, enacting it and put it into actuality, that's when it becomes a little bit more complex. But if you sit down and think about it, you get a group of people, you can figure it out. You can knock out a decent plan within a couple days. Almost like a G7 summit, or a G20 meeting, or a Bilderberg group meeting, right? Our Bohemian Grove meeting. You can sit down and figure this shit out in a couple days. Because everyone adopts the same mindset that, hey, we need to make sure that we're in control of everything and we operate everything and we know everything because we're responsible for governing because we're the government. We gave these people too much power, bro. We gave these people too much power, man. I'm just going to read out the rest of these. Bunatime, Bunny, Greenhouse, U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, and Halliburton. U.S. government's close relationship with the oil field services company Halliburton has frequently rose suspicion. Things looked even worse in 2003 when Bunny Greenhouse, the chief contracting officer at the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, came. Oh, someone's sitting there looking at contracts all day and just going to contracts, making sure it's good. Right. I'm gonna say almost like a lawyer, but just more like a paralegal, just really going on the contractual obligations and making sure everything's up and up and fits money wise too. Came forward saying the government showed favoritism to Halliburton and granted them a contract to rebuild the oil fields facilities in Iraq. And there you go. That's why we went to Iraq. And that's also what's the military industrial complex? Halliburton. Right? Is that simple? Is that simple? Because they use the military to go in, destroy a nation, and bring their currency all the way down, and then bring it back up with their infrastructure and stuff like that through these governmental contracts. Like I said, the government and corporations are associated together always, and through Halliburton and the oil fields, stuff like that. And now all of a sudden, the Iraqi dinar, which we talked about in one of the previous episodes last week, is worth more than the U.S. dollar, like $1,400. Yeah, one Iraqi dinar is worth 1,400 something U.S. dollars. Oh, how'd that happen? Oh, because of their oil fields. Oh, Halliburton. They did this. This all happened in real time. It's always happened in real time because they favor the contract. And the Halliburton subsidiary, Kellogg, Brown, and Root was simply pushed through the usual cumbersome bureaucratic channels with no competition. So we do government contracts, or if you're in the government and you're making a purchase, private purchase, or a commercial purchase, where equipment. I did this when I had to get equipment for the gym. You have to go through 3 different, and you have to work with a contracting agency on base as well. So you have to find at least 3 different sources, right? And then basically it's based on price and and cost, whether it's cost effective or whether, and you supposed to go with the lowest one, right? The lowest bidder. But it's at least 3. You have to at least 3. So with them not having at least 3 and just having just one in Halliburton and their subsidiary and just pushing the contract through, they already went against it. And this is why this person, Bunny Greenhouse, called it out. Like, whoa, this shit shouldn't be going through like this. It shouldn't be getting all the contracts. This is how it goes, bro. Number 5, Colleen Rowley, FBI. Immediately after September 11th tragedy, Americans were dumbfounded and wondering how a primitive group of terrorists could unleash an attack on U.S. soil without drawing suspicion from any of the country's intelligence agencies. It seemed impossible, and it was, while government agencies feigned. Under surprise, FBI Special Agent Colleen Rowley immediately came forward, explaining that her Minneapolis field office knew Zacharias Moussaoui, one of the 9/11 conspirators, had paid $8,000 in cash for Boeing 747 flying lessons and was planning a suicide hijacking. The question is, where the fuck you get $8,000 in cash? But whatever. Notice how cash is used for illegal activities, but they're telling you Bitcoin is used for it. And however, her request to search Moussaoui's room and computer were denied by her superiors. See? Someone at the bottom of the totem pole was doing their job, and then someone above them said, "Hey, shut the fuck up." Told you, this is how government works, bro. It's funny how I'm explaining this, and then these articles are backing it up. Even though the articles are still not giving the full details of everything, because they're not explaining the way in which I explained it. Let you know that, yeah, this is what happens, man. Says frustrated by mishandling. Frustrated by the mishandling information before and after the attacks, Rowley wrote a 13-page memorandum and hand-delivered copies to the FBI director, Robert Mueller. And that guy still was wasn't he still the FBI director just last year? Remember the Mueller report? Then he investigated Trump. We talked about in this podcast as well. So somehow this guy is supposed to be trusted and been the FBI director for all that time? You're not supposed to, I know continuity in government, but you're not supposed to have the same person in position for a long time because they get too comfortable. And one, they also develop a little too much power or perceived power. Director Robert Mueller of the FBI and 2 members of the Senate Intelligence Committee. Among other things, the letter claims the Bureau deliberately thwarted efforts which may have stopped the September 11th tragedy. The magazine printed full details. Time magazine printed full details of the memo in its June 3rd, 2002 edition titled The Bombshell Memo. Rowley also testified in front of the 9/11 Commission about the debacle and wasn't shy in saying that the deadly attacks. Where was that? The deadly attacks could have been delayed or completely avoided if her office had been allowed. And Rowley retired from the FBI in 2004 and was named one Times Person of the Year in 2002. So it was a big deal then. I don't even remember this. I know I was in like high school. I think I was in like 10th grade when this happened, but I don't even remember this. But I knew 9/11 was suspicious from day one because, well, shit just looked kind of odd, bro. Like, shit just didn't add up. They're like, hey, there's no way motherfuckers just hijack some planes and run into the building. Like, you telling me the most simplest plan in existence in the modern world just fucking happened and no one did anything and no one stopped it? Come on, man. And nobody still buys 9/11, right? Yet we don't do anything about it. We don't do anything about it, man. So the government, if you're listening, don't even waste your time lying to people. Don't even waste your time lying to people. Just say the truth, because it doesn't matter anyways. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. They're not gonna. Nobody cares. Nobody's not gonna do anything. Nobody's gonna try to wake up each other, or not wake each other up, but nobody's trying to provide information with each other and share information to be like, hey, we should probably do something about it. No, nobody's gonna do all that. Everybody's gonna listen to it and be like, okay, that's it. Cause if I bring up this to my friends and family members, now they'll probably be like, yeah, the government's shady, but it's like, no, bro, y'all don't know how deep and bad this goes. It's not just one thing. It's a continuous thing, time after time after time after time. Yeah, number 4, Bradley Manning. Bradley Manning is a female now. I don't want to be female. United States Army. United States Army private, right? This is a private. What, a couple years in. Bradley Manning is responsible for what some have called the biggest leak of secret military data ever. His actions also helped put WikiLeaks on the map as he provided the organization with hundreds of thousands of classified documents. Because Manning was a known disgruntled and often bullied worker. I like how they throw that out there. There is some debate regarding his intentions for the leak. Yeah, because I'm disgruntled and I'm a bully worker, so I want to take down all the United States military. Or at least my branch. I'll put, yeah. I'll put a huge target on my back because I'm being bullied at work. Was he really trying to inform the public about crimes, brutality, and corruption within the government, or was he simply seeking revenge on his military associates? You shouldn't even say that. You should. I'm actually it's kind of fucked up that they don't even bring that up. It's really fucked that they don't even bring that up. It says he described as a bunch of hyper masculine, trigger happy, ignorant rednecks. 2 of his superiors even advised not sending Manning to Iraq, where he eventually accessed the secret documents because he was considered a risk to himself and possibly others. And this is why we had government training for insider threats. This literal is government training in the Air Force. I'm pretty sure in other military branches as well. Insider threats because of this Bradley Manning shit. And I'm sure other ones that we don't even know the names of. However, Manning was one of the few qualified intelligence analysts. Well, so I told you. I said I was going to be an intelligence analyst. I always want to be in the know, but someone kept telling me, do I actually want to be there? Because I'm probably going to stumble along something that I did not fucking want to know. And my moral consciousness would be like, oh, I got to tell the truth about this. And guess what? My ass would have been fucking dead somewhere. Right? I would have been dead somewhere. Definitely locked up away forever. And evidently, the Army thought his skills were worth the risk. Obviously, their gamble didn't pay off. His skills were worth the risk. Of course, his skills were worth the risk. That's what his fucking job was. If you can't deploy, you're out the military. Your job is to deploy. Yo, I don't care what fuck who you are. I don't care what your job is, whatever the case may be, what branch of military. Your job is to go overseas. Right? I wouldn't say mine's the Coast Guard. But I was in the fucking war anyways. But your job is to go overseas. That's it. Everything revolves around you being overseas, in deployment, in the Middle East. It's fucking in Asia, wherever the fuck they want to see, or Eurasia, wherever they want to send you at. So he revealed a secret video nicknamed Collateral Murder that showed U.S. aircrew laughing after killing dozens of people. We watched that in basic training. Military history 101 for us. We watched that in basic training. Like, hey, this is what you don't do. Don't go out telling the secret stuff. You do that, you keep it internal, blah, blah. You go up the chain of command and you figure it out. But it's fucked up. They were laughing, bro. They treat it like a video game because, people a little off, man. You can't sit there and have people kill people. And then and them, not look at humanity as if it's nothing. Because how do you compartmentalize with that? That you're killing people, no matter what, you're killing someone, and it's not necessarily for personal defense. You're killing someone because you're told to kill someone because that's what your paycheck does, right? Or excuse me, that's what you get a paycheck for, to kill someone. And it's a detailed records of civilian death toll in Iraq. The military repeatedly said there was no record. Out of the 109,000 deaths logged in a 6-year period, 66,081 were unarmed civilians. Of course, collateral damage. Bro. U.S. soldiers committed. They made movies about this. That's why I don't like watching those military movies, man. They be lying. They'll tell you a little bit of truth, but then they'll spin it in a positive way. So you still think, oh well, you can see the perspective and the positive side of the military or the government. But once again, it's not the people in the military themselves; it's those higher up, and sometimes this could be someone independently acting, in association with the military and government. Dying core. Dying core. Yeah, do your research about Dying Core. You can go ask Patrick Bergy about Dying Core. The U.S. soldiers committed horrific acts of torture on Iraqi prisoners. Despite hundreds of filed complaints, authorities never investigated U.S. defense contractor Dying Core was involved in child trafficking. Literal crimes against humanity, bro. Literal crimes against humanity, man. Number 3, Russell Tice, National Security Agency, Defense Intelligence Agency, the NSA, yet again. According to Russell Tice, the ex-NSA intelligence officer, the National Security Agency had access to all Americans' communications, faxes, phone calls, and their computer communications. It didn't matter whether you were in Kansas, in the middle of the country, or you never made a foreign communication at all. They monitor all communications. Like, why the NSA still exist? Clearly it's unconstitutional, right? And not just talking about the creation of the agency itself, because all these alphabet agencies are unconstitutional, but just in the sense of your Fourth Amendment rights and them spying on you and stuff. American citizens. So now all American citizens are treated as a potential threat. I am a potential threat. You are probably a potential threat because you ass sat here and listened to me talk about this government shit. So we're all potential threats, right? NSA. Then you have Eric Snowden. We all know about his NSA shit. And then the Tuskegee experiments, which I did an episode on the podcast about. They gave experimental vaccines and studies and stuff for syphilis to, quote unquote, black people, but just darker skinned people trying to figure out who they can do it to. That's what it comes down to, man. That's government. So when I sit and be like, oh, I'm calling this out, or I'm talking about the government, or I'm saying, hey, this, pay attention to this, or the media lie about this, it's because there's so much evidence and precedent set that has been done in the past in real time. Because if you've been alive, as long as I've been alive since at least the 80s, hell, you've been alive since the 90s, bro. You've been alive since the 90s. This shit has been happening your whole entire life. So every generation alive in America has experienced these so-called conspiracy theories by the government in real time. And yet you have not found about the shit until after the fact. Stop being reactive. We got to be proactive and investigate and figure out what's going on right now. But, like I keep saying, nobody cares. Nobody gives a fuck. So, it is what it is. And sometimes I think I should not say it, but hey, we get what we deserve. But that's just my own personal opinion, right? Just dropping some little shared information, facts, if you will. And hopefully you guys have a good weekend. Spend time with your family and friends, all that good shit. I'll be back on Monday. So until next time,